WhatsApp groups. We have more than 100 groups. So he's going to give us a speech, and then I'll later give you on our updates for today. To begin this meeting, I'm going to lead us in a prayer, and I'm going to pray in our indigenous language, and I'm going to pray for each and everyone here. Again, this is not a Christian platform, but we do also recognize our Muslim brothers who are on this platform. We appreciate all of you. Thank you again for joining. And also, we thank each and every one of you who spent this time. We all know that this is Saturday and everyone had plans, but we decided to join and discuss various issues affecting Black people. So to start off the meeting, I'm going to lead us in a prayer. I'm going to pray using my own indigenous language, which is Shona. Let us all bow our heads and pray. At Namate. Toyapa mberi pechigaro chenyu Mwari, dai mungatitungamirira. Zvose zvatinoronga Mwari Baba, dai mungaita zvose zvigofamba mune zvakanaka. Tinamata zvose tenzi, zvatichataura nezvatichaita munosangana, dai mungatitungamirira. Zvose tenzi ndozvisa mune iyo, mbiri yenyu inogara nokusingaperi. Amen. Yes, again, welcome to our Love Black People History, Pan-African History class. My name is Awad, and the core we discuss various issues, and the main thing which we are going to discuss about, and which we are more focused about in these days, is the first of ever application ever to be developed specifically for Black people, so that they can get protected from racism and xenophobia. We are using this application to recommend places which are safe and Black-owned all over the world, wherever each and every member or ambassador are. Again, to know each other, you can write in the chat room your name, whether you're a member or an ambassador of our Love Black People, and also where you are joining us from. We welcome all of you. I can't mention all of your names, but I've noticed that some of the people join us each and every Saturday. We appreciate all of you. And also with the help which you are giving ILoveBlackPeople.com in this job and in this mission which we want to achieve. And we've targeted by 2030, we need to eradicate racism all over the world and xenophobia. Yeah, thank you all. So today you are going to have a speech from Robson Minga. Yes, Robson. I think Robson is not yet on call, so maybe Yvonne, we can start by Alex to give us an update about the application.
I'm on call.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, Robson.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm going to take a very short time to give a short speech. And maybe I will get to talk about our application. As I love Black people, you know, as Black people, we can only get to protect each other by ourselves. No one can stand to protect us. We are the only people who can protect ourselves. As much as there are people outside there, but no one will be caring about us. Normally we say in our indigenous language, there's a say that says that that person who is in problem understands what the other same person is undergoing. Now, we as the Black people, we are the ones who are facing these challenges. And the challenges that we're mainly talking about is racism and xenophobia. We are the people who are actually in this problem. We are the people who are actually in this shoe. And we can only take care of ourselves. We can only protect ourselves by ourselves. No one else can do it for us. Therefore, I Love Black People has come up with a very, very important, a very, very amazing, a very, very unique application that you can use it in your Android mobile phones. You can also use it in your iOS mobile phones. This application is I Love Black People Safe Places. And I believe that as the call moves on, my brother Awad and my sister Yvonne will get to share the links for the application. If you haven't downloaded, take that priority and download it. And this application, mainly into the view of this application, once it has the 8 categories of ILoveBlackPeople, whereby the first category is health, education and childcare, transport, beauty, food, accommodation, finance, and legal. As a Black person, whenever you attend any of the services around you, maybe you attend a school, maybe you attend any finance offices around you, and then you realize that that place is actually a place where Black people are treated with dignity, where Black people are not discriminated, where Black people are regarded as people, where people are not, where Black people are not undergoing any form of discrimination. You go to the application, then you recommend it. Oh, and also, if you attend a place, then you realize that Black people in that place, they're not welcome. Black people are discriminated. Maybe you go to an hotel, then you're not served as a Black person. You're discriminated because of your color. You're discriminated because of your color. What you do, you don't recommend that place as a safe place. So that another innocent Black person, when another Black person will be wishing to attend any of the facility, will be able to know which place is safe and which place is not safe. Therefore, through this, we are going to eradicate, we are going to stop this issue of racism and xenophobia. Actually, Black people sometimes, they can attend a place, then they are killed. They can attend a place, then they're discriminated. How will you feel that someone has been discriminated in a place that you know is not safe? You will actually feel it bitter. But if you go to a place, then you realize that if it is not safe, you don't recommend that place. And also so that Black people cannot go to those places. Therefore, you will be proud because you will have protected, you will have saved Black people. Make sure you download the app. Some people have been asking, what is the importance of the app? We normally say every time during the call, moderators are even saying it in the groups, that download the app. That app is very, very important. I believe that the 33 people who are already on the call are having the application already. If you haven't downloaded the app, make sure you download it today. This app is very, very important. This app is actually very, very important. If you open the app, maybe if you have any problem, you can always ask in the groups, there are moderators. Just ask a question there. The moderators will be able to answer you any of the questions that you are facing there. This app takes a very, very small space. People have been saying that they don't have space in their phones. This app takes only 19 MBs. 19 MBs. This space is very, very small. Will not consume a very, very big space. Sometimes we might be having songs, we might be having videos that are not important. You can just sacrifice by deleting one so that you download this app, because this app is very, very important. This is the only way that Black people, will be regarded as important people in this world, as important people. In the history, when I was in school, we also learned that Africa was the home of mankind, meaning that this is where human beings started. This is where life started. According to the history, you realize that most of the places where people are discovered to be living was in Africa. And therefore, these Black people are very, very important. If they were in Africa, that means they were Black people. Therefore, as Black people, let us make sure that we download this app, we protect each other, because we cannot stand without others. We cannot be able to live without others. Up to that point, maybe if there's any question that I may answer. If there's any question that has been asked in the chat box.
All right. Thank you so much, Brother Minga Robson Mogaka from Kenya. If people, members, and ambassadors have questions, kindly write in the chat room. Also, on Facebook, we are live on Facebook. If you have questions, write in the comment section. Our lead developers are also with us. They're going to respond. And also on WhatsApp, feel free to reach to our brother Minga Robson. And if they come to your inbox, one of our moderators, just respond to them, and they will teach you and let you go through the application together. If you are facing any challenges, don't hesitate to reach out to them any time of the day. They are there to assist you and will assist you, all of you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Brother Robson.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Minga Robson Mogaka from Kenya. I am because we are.
I am because we are. I think I see Mr. Harrison raised his hand. Kindly write in the chat room if you do have questions, so that our developers for the application will respond to you. On next, we're going to have our lead developer, who is Alex Wafula, to give a comment about our application. Yes, Alex, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hey, Howard.
All right, thank you.
All right. Yeah, thanks so much for having me on the call today as well. And yeah, thanks, Robson, for that great presentation about the app. Yeah, so I don't want to take up too much time because I've had Robinson cover quite a few with regards to what the app is used for and the memory we have for the app. So like I know you've had people who've been asking about having a lower capacity in terms of memory usage for the app. Like Robson mentioned, we've really tried our best to have the app, like I think, like you mentioned, it runs between 19 and 40 MBs, depending on the release that we have for the week and on the platform that you're using. So this is one of the smallest apps out there. So like we've tried to be really conscious about the space that the app takes on your phone. Then we've also had folks talk about ensuring that the app doesn't use as much data. Again, we've tried to be very conscious about that. And something that we've recently started looking into is making sure that the app can actually work to an extent without an internet connection. So maybe that's something we might be releasing in the next couple of weeks. And we'll definitely love to get feedback from everyone on this call and beyond. Maybe ask your family and friends to try it out as well. And I think just to reiterate again, the importance of the app, nowadays we have like a lot of things that we can use to track businesses or find locations that we want to go to. So like they give us very many different details about a location, like is it cheap or is it expensive? How far it's from us, like what kinds of people go there. But I think something that has been consistent across most of these platforms is the safety of these places when it comes to Black people. Like how sure are you as a Black person if you go to this location, whether it's actually safe for you, like will you be treated with respect? So that's something we're trying to introduce on the internet, which I believe is something that hasn't really ever been done at scale. So in addition in terms of searching for a hospital, you can actually really search, will I be treated with respect? Will I be safe in this hospital as a Black person? You can imagine you're an expectant mother, you've gone to a hospital. With everything that's happening at the back of your mind, you shouldn't be worrying about, okay, will I be treated with the same dignity and respect as people from other races? This shouldn't be something you're thinking about or considering when you're bringing a new baby into the world. So, and oftentimes when people find themselves in those situations, they really don't have a direct answer or solution to kind of solve them. And so like, that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure everyone in our community, everyone in our movement is safe when they visit different places, especially when they're traveling. So I guess for all those who've been asking about the purpose of the app, I hope that kind of tries and answer that for you. Then with regards to the feature, we're really looking for a lot of feedback this week is to do with the notifications. Like we've tried to make the app more engaging by introducing notifications. So you might be at your favorite restaurant, but you don't remember you have the app. So what we're trying to do is to like send you notifications when you're in different places to kind of remind you, hey, I can see you're at this restaurant according to your experience or your interaction with that place. Do you think this place is Black friendly? So it kind of keeps engaging you based on where you are. So in case you forget to recommend places in real time. So like that's one specific feature that we're really looking for a lot of feedback from the community, whether it's working as expected, what we can do to improve it, whether you find it helpful or not. Then I think the other update that we have coming up, they should probably be on both the iOS and App Store this coming week, around Tuesday or Wednesday, is to do with the amount of time it takes before you're logged out of the app. Because of security issues, like obviously, because of security issues, we kind of limit the amount of time you remain logged in on the app so that you'll be prompted to log in again. But we've had complaints that that time is extremely limited. So in our iteration, we've kind of increased the amount of time you'll be allowed to stay in the app without having to log in again. So again, it will really be interesting to hear your experiences on whether the new update actually makes sense on your end. Yeah, so that's also something I'm pretty much looking forward to. Other than that, yeah, I think those are the new things we have. Other than that, again, I'd really like to send my thank you to everyone who's been able to give us feedback. It's really the feedback that we're getting from the community. That's basically what we're using to try and improve this app. So without all the comments that come in, reaching out to Awad, Yvonne, myself, without that, we will not be able to do as much as we have up to this point. So for anyone who might maybe think we don't check the reviews or feedback, we actually do, and we try and engage with everyone that responds. So like, I'll encourage you to keep those comments and feedback about the app coming in, things you want to see improved, new features you want to see on the app, and we will definitely do our best to put up what makes sense. Other than that, as Awad said, I'm on the call today. So if there are any specific questions you have about the app or any feedback you have, you can go ahead and send it over to the comment section. We're also happy to receive your feedback on our email, info@ILoveBlackPeople.com. And yeah, I think that's all I have. Awad, I don't know if we have any questions.
Yes, thank you, Brother Alex. Unfortunately, at the moment, we do not have any questions or anything concerning about the application. If you do have any questions or want to know more about this application, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Even if you write on this chat room, we will eventually get a word of each and every messages, and we'll respond to you by today or in our WhatsApp groups next week. But our lead developer is here, so it's good to ask questions concerning the application. And also, if you do have any features which you would like our app to do, don't hesitate as well to reach out to us. Kindly write in the chat room. Also on Facebook, I can see there are no questions. If you do have any questions or anything which you would like to contribute concerning the ILoveBlackPeople Safe Places application, you are free to write in the chat room, in the comment section about our application.
All right, I do see a question from Abu Sharif on the chat section. So he's asking, how do I know through the app that a particular area is safe for Black people? So Abu Sharif, I think I mentioned this on our previous call. So like, we've had this app on the stores for roughly a little over a month now. So it's very new, and like for the most part, we are really looking for people who are able to recommend places. So once we have enough places recommended and obviously reviewed to determine whether these places are actually Black friendly, we'll be sharing these places with people. So like what we're really looking right now from the community is for people to be able to recommend safe places. So a very good example I'll give you is Maybe there's a shoe store that I'm used to I'm used to like buying my shoes from, and I've been doing it for years. Like my shoes are always high quality. They don't get spoiled over a long period of time. And so because I have experience in this store, if somebody came to me and asked, hey, Wafula, where can I get like a good shoe in Nairobi? So like I live in Nairobi. I'll recommend this place because I have personal experience with this place. I've been to the shoe store many times. They've always treated me well. They've always given me a good quality of shoe. So like, that's why I'll recommend this place, right? So with that, what we're really saying is if you as a Black person, if you've been to a hospital, if you've been to a restaurant, basically businesses through the 8 categories we have, because those eight categories are what we've realized that the most basic needs that a human being requires. When you're sick, you need a hospital. You always need a place to stay, so that's accommodation. You always need a place to eat, so that's the food category. You need clothing, so that's the beauty category you have. So like the categories we have are the most basic human needs. So, and you interact with these, like if you're a human being, you've interacted with such kinds of businesses. And so like your experience as a Black person, do you feel safe in these businesses? Because there's some businesses you go to and you're thinking, okay, I don't feel like I'm okay here. Or like a hospital you go to and you'll be told, okay, these are the medicines you need to take. And like, you're not sure whether these people are really treating you or like taking your concerns as seriously as they should. So you will not recommend such places to people, right? So really what we are looking for from the community is for you to be able to recommend places that are actually safe for Black people, because we like, let me not maybe say all, some of these things like have been happening for so many years in the society that they seem normal. But we know like if you go to a certain restaurant and it's you and a white person, like you'll be treated differently, right? And that's not right. So like, we don't want to engage with such places. We want to engage with places that treats Black people with respect, that treats Black people safely. It doesn't discriminate against them. So if you've been to places like this, we'll love you to recommend those places so that we can further highlight these places as safe, as Black friendly, as they can be Black owned. If they're not Black owned, it's okay that they are Black friendly, that they do not discriminate against Black people. So if you know places like this, these are the places we essentially want you to recommend. So the way we know that these places are Black friendly is through the community, basically through you, our movement, that you folks have actually recommended those places based on your own personal experiences. So that's the criteria we're really depending on and using to determine whether a place is Black friendly. And so the more people recommend a specific place, so if 1,000 people say this place is Black friendly compared to maybe just one person, it kind of shows there's more support for this place. More people have had good experiences in this place. And sometimes we have places that people don't know, maybe just one person knows, but it's really good with Black people. So like sometimes it just starts with one person recommending, hey guys, I've been to this place. I promise you, come and try it out. And in that way, you actually get businesses that are really treat people well that folks don't know about. And through the community, you can actually get to know about those businesses and only interact with those businesses because they're the ones that respect Black people as humans and give them the basic dignity that a human needs. I hope that answered your question. Yeah, I hope that answered that question, Abu Sharif. Then I see another question from I think Clyde Fowler. They're saying my country code is 592, but on the app it is different. Can that be fixed? I think this was this the Guyana issue for the country code?
Yes, that's the issue.
Yeah, so I think we already fixed this issue. So if you're still seeing that on your app, it likely means that you're using the, maybe your app hasn't been updated. So I'll recommend that you go to either the Play Store if you're using Android or Google App Store if you're using iOS, and update your app. So you should see an update with that country code. So I think that the Guyana country code was fixed. So in case you're still having issues with that, Clyde, you can reach out to us either through info@ILoveBlackPeople.com or maybe reach out to Awad or Yvonne or myself on WhatsApp, and we can follow up. Let me see if there's another question. Okay, so I still see Clyde who says their country is Guyana and the app is not allowing them to add some businesses. How can this be done, please? Yeah, again, so Clyde, for the app, one of the initial requests we received from people was that maybe sometimes they're in a specific location and they don't see that business on the app as a suggested business. So we do have a section at the bottom right section of the app. There's like a plus sign. So if you click on that sign, you can actually directly recommend a business. So for example, if you're in a specific area and you open the app, we usually like display businesses that are around you, and you can actually recommend a business that's close to your location. But in some cases, maybe when we're not able to identify a business close to you, what you can do is click on the plus sign that's on the bottom right side of the screen that allows you to manually input that business. So you can input the business name, the address, phone number and email are optional, but if you have them, you can also put them, then hit submit. So that's how you can actually manually recommend businesses. But for the most part, we do recommend using the suggested businesses that are already appearing on the app, because I mean, it's like less work. The addresses are kind of already verified. Yeah, but if you're trying to recommend a business and you totally don't see it, you can use the screen or just go to the next tab. That's the close by tab, where you can actually recommend a business that's not necessarily in your current location. You can actually just search for the business name and recommend it from there. So I'll suggest you try those two options. Either use the plus sign on the bottom right to manually recommend a business, or try search for the business on the close by tab. That's you can access it from the bottom of the screen once again. But yeah, if you're still having issues with it, again, you can reach out directly to us. And something that's very good with something that's very useful with feedback, if you can, please do include screenshots, because it's easier for a development team to kind of visualize and see the challenge you're having. So if possible, include screenshots. If not, like try and best explain the issue you're having. Maybe this is what you expected, but this is what you're seeing. Again, that would be really helpful for us to kind of visualize the problem you're having. Other than that, Clyde, like these are really good questions. Like we definitely appreciate them. And even like the Guyana country code, like we really had missed it the first time around. So it's people like you reaching out to us and letting us know the problems you're seeing with the app. Yeah, so these are very good questions and we definitely welcome them. So with regards to the challenges you're having with the business recommendation in Guyana, do reach out to us directly on info@ILoveBlackPeople. And yeah, I'll also be happy to get on a call with you if that works for you. You can just leave your phone number on the email and I can follow up directly. All right.
All right, thank you so much, Alex. So if you do have any questions, kindly write in the chat room. I can see on Facebook, we don't have any questions, but here on Zoom, if you still want clarity about, yes, I can see Alex, there's Ab Sheruf. He said, who can recommend, how do we authenticate the recommended place? Note I might be treated differently from me at a particular place because of my personality, and based on that, I might recommend that place being safe, but when you visit the same place, you might be treated badly with racism or xenophobia. Please clarify that.
Yeah, so Abu Sharif, like anyone who downloads our app can recommend a business. So usually when somebody downloads our app, you are able to, by the time we're posting recommendations, like you're able to see businesses that are around you, right? But if you do want to recommend a business, you are required to put in your name, your phone number, your country, your city, and your email address. So one thing that does in terms of authentication, like because we have people who use bots out there and like they'll like put in fake details on apps. We kind of do away with that because now somebody has to actually put in a real email address and a real phone number, right? So like that's one step we use in terms of ensuring we have actual real people recommending businesses. So you cannot recommend a business on the app if you do not sign up. So that's the first step. Then, yeah, like I said, anyone can recommend a business. And the thing with business recommendations, when we do get them, you can't get to see patterns. So for example, if say a person called A gets in on the app and they recommend 500 businesses that have problems, that are problematic, maybe they all don't have addresses, or they all have like a specific issue. So like from our end, it kind of gets a bit easy to see like patterns of people who are bad players. So somebody who's not recommending businesses that are Black friendly compared to maybe there's a specific business and it's been recommended by 1,000 different people. So like if 1,000 different people say this place is good, it would be very hard for that to be problematic because we receive that recommendation from more than one person, compared to one person saying, okay, business is a Black friendly business. So if they are the only person that said that, we won't rank that business as high because I mean, only one person said it. So we might, in such cases, we might need to do a review for that business. We even do call some of these businesses to like verify that they exist, that they're still running. So like there is some due diligence we do on our end to kind of verify whether a business actually exists. Then, like I said, we strongly depend on the community, the people who are actually experiencing these businesses to let us know if those businesses are Black friendly. So if say you, Abu Sherif, for example, recommends a business, then based on your recommendation, somebody goes to that business. So now we have somebody else who is not you, who can go and say, okay, yeah, I do agree with Abu Sherif, this place is Black friendly. But if say you recommend 100 businesses, then we have 50 people go to the businesses you recommended, and all of them say these businesses are not Black friendly. We are kind of going to like, okay, wonder, okay, how comes everything that Abu Sherif says is Black friendly is refuted by everyone else? So like those are kind of the checks we do to kind of authenticate whether places are Black friendly. And it's really because of the community. Like when you're able to depend on community, we are able to do like a lot. Because for example, our team is based in Zimbabwe, Rwanda, I'm in Kenya myself, we have Sinclair in US, but like we're dealing with the entire world. So we really cannot cover all these locations on our own. So we heavily depend on our community to be able to actually verify and authenticate that places are Black friendly. So if somebody from France says, okay, I've been to this restaurant, it's Black friendly, we have literally hundreds of community members in France who can actually go there and say, okay, yeah, I think this is Black friendly as well, or people within our community who are actually traveling there. So like the community bit is a huge part when it comes to authenticating the business. Then with regards to the way you're saying that you might be treated differently because of your character, I think I'll say you can be treated differently because of various things, but there are some things that really stand out. So for example, what example can I give? Me being a Kenyan and African with my accent, and somebody who is in a different country with a different accent. Even though we have different personalities, like it will really stand out that we have different accents, right? And like that's something you will remember. So I think with racism, it's also the same. Like your person, like there's so many factors that determine how you are treated, and your color is one of them. Like this is a centuries old problem. Like our forefathers were colonized, put into slavery, and it was because of color. Like you can speak about your personality as much as you can, but like these are just the facts. Like color is a huge fact in terms of how you're treated today. And sometimes you don't even need to pay attention. Sometimes it's like really in your face, you can see, okay, this person is treating me this way because of my color. and you can talk all you can talk all about your personality as much as you want, but it's so unfortunate that regardless of how smart you are, what level of school you went, you have engineers, world-class pilots who are really mistreated because they're just Black. Like, it's almost like your education doesn't matter. So the aspect of personality in a lot of these circumstances really doesn't come in, like regardless, and I guess that's the core of what racism is, regardless of your knowledge.
Sorry, Brother Alex,
yeah.
Sorry for interrupting you. Unfortunately,
Okay.
Your time is up. Can you just round up?
All right. Yeah, I think I'm done. I just wanted to cover that bit of racism versus personality, but I think I put the point through.
All right, thank you. So if you do have any questions, you can kindly write in the chat room. You'll get a response regarding your questions with our lead developer, Alex, and also our database manager, Yvonne, is also with us. Without wasting time, we'd like to appreciate our brother, Alex, for giving us a good insight about our application and how it's going in terms of authenticating businesses. We appreciate you, and also appreciate each and everyone who is using this application to recommend businesses. We need the world to know that certain safe places around us whom are other people they don't know about. So let's go ahead and recommend all the safe places around. So on next, we're going to have a healthcare lecture from Nana Akua. These are one of the lectures which you should not miss because it teaches us about health lifestyle and also privileged to have Nana Akua because she has experience in the healthcare and herbal holistics. We appreciate and we're learning a lot. People have been coming with the good feedbacks about these lectures and living a health lifestyle. So if you want to live a health lifestyle with the natural resources around you, you should not miss this lecture. Yes, Nana Akua, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Good day. How are you, Award?
Good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm great. Greetings, everyone. Good day. Happy Saturday. I hope everyone is well. Thanks for joining us today. So thank you all for turning on your cameras. You know, I love seeing beautiful Black faces. So we are, Award, I believe we are modifying our schedule, right? And we're doing only 30 minutes today. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes, and if you'll allow me to share the screen, I will. I think I have our information pulled up. So this is then our official first week again. And so basically what we'll do is just sort of cut down the information. And I know it is a long time to sit on the call from the beginning to the end. So I think this is a good change. And so I will just break it up. So we'll pretty much talk about what would normally be in week one in two parts. So today, what we would normally talk about is all of these areas here. The holistic approach with the principles and modalities include information on nutrition, food combining, healthy eating. So what we'll just talk about just today is those first two concepts. We'll talk about the nutrition piece. So giving you an overview of what it means to learn about nutrition, what nutrients the body needs, and the different categories that they fall in. And then we'll kind of highlight some of the vitamins and minerals, proteins, carbohydrates, some of the details of those things. What I will not spend a lot of time on today is just the principles themselves. And why that is I'll just wrap that up with this. I'm a holistic healer. I've been so for 25 years. And I started out primarily being an herbalist and kind of expanding to all of the other tenets, some of which you see here in this diagram. So we learn about nutrition and some of the touch therapies like massage, reflexology, and things of that nature, energy healing, other touch therapies. We use all natural occurring substances to aid in healing. And so that may include areas of the physical body, the mental, emotional body, as well as the spiritual self. And so you always want a healer to help facilitate your healing that will address all of those areas for you. And sometimes you have to sort of piece those together. You may have a couple of different healers to assist you to make sure that all those areas are covered. And so sometimes that takes a little bit more work in compiling your team of healers and people who assist you, but it is worth it, because in some regards, we will lose sight of the importance of our emotional health or our spiritual health if we simply are going to a doctor that simply focuses on our physical well-being. And we know that more Western or allopathic medicine professionals are opening up to this concept, because now they're including questions that involve your emotional or mental health in our annual checkups or physicals, right? And they're asking questions now of, you know, whether you feel depressed or whether you feel any kind of emotional or mental health issues, or if you need assistance with that. They're even now asking if you're safe at home, if there are any forms of abuse and things like that, that of course can impact you physically, emotionally, and spiritually, right? And so they're being more open to including other aspects of health. And I think that's a great thing. If, however, you're not in a situation where they are offering other services in addition to your standard blood test and urine test and physical examinations, then you may have to seek out someone else that maybe addresses those other areas. And for people of color, because we have long been mistreated because of our color, because of our origin, where we may have been born on the planet, we've always sort of been in battle with others, or they've been in battle with us. And that takes an emotional and spiritual toll. So I really want to emphasize the importance of always addressing your mental health and your spiritual health. So it's great to go for regular checkups, but I implore you to also seek your spiritual growth and healing, as well as your mental and emotional health. And that pretty much is what holistic medicine is. Holistic medicine includes addressing the entire person, mind, body, and spirit. And so all forms of healing that encompass that is what we're talking about here. So if you're in the class and you have this packet, I will not go over the holistic healing principles, but it's important to just get a well-rounded healer that will address all of your issues, really treat you as a priority, know that you're an individual. Not all people are the same, even if you are from the same area, ethnic background, race, socioeconomic status, whatever, that they treat you as an individual. And that if you are afflicted with a disease or a illness, that they realize that you are not that disease, you are not that illness, you are still a person that happens to be diagnosed with a particular condition, and they need to consider you as an individual, and all your options should be explored. When we're talking about alternative therapies or natural therapies or holistic therapies, as I prefer to refer them to, it can include any number of these modalities mentioned here. Sometimes people call it folk medicine, herbal medicine. It may include nutritional therapy, homeopathy, chiropractic care, acupuncture, massage, music therapy. Any number of holistic healing modalities are what we are talking about here. Traditional healers, such as this Sangoma that's mentioned or listed here, These are the people you would seek out if you're looking for traditional herbal remedies. Sometimes there are so many side effects to certain pharmaceutical medications that people will seek other alternatives. Some people will take prescription medications, and to address the side effects will also take some other natural remedies to even be able to still function fully and completely with having taken those prescription drugs. It's definitely your choice. This class is aimed at providing information so that you can make an informed choice and then know just what God has created and offers here to us on different parts of the world and in different parts of the world. So if something that we mentioned here in class, you're not accessible to a traditional healer, local or native to your area that specializes in herbs, is who you would go to, who you would seek out to address your health concerns with natural remedies. Oh no, I did something again. I am always, goodness. I've hit something on the screen again. I stay doing that, okay. So we know that holistic principles basically include taking ownership of your conditions. You're responsible for your own health and well-being. We know that individuals have an innate healing power, all of your own. You were built for this. You were made to be able to address and withstand certain stressors, certain challenges, certain conditions based on where you are and who you are and how God made you. So never give away your power. Also, this concept of the patient or the client is a person, not a disease. I mentioned that earlier. That's important. That helps you maintain your dignity, your power, your ability to overcome any condition. It starts with that mindset. And then, of course, you always want to focus on fixing the cause of the condition and not just alleviating the symptoms. So these are some really, really basic but crucial principles to master when you're talking about healing. We know that it involves detox, it involves different types of diets, fasting, cleansing. There's always going to be foods that you should avoid. There are different Eastern healing methods dealing with chakras and energy healing and balancing and clearing of the meridians and such that tie into healing, vibrational healing, energy healing. These are all concepts that you can look into, but know that they exist and can aid, again, not only in the physical healing, but the emotional and spiritual healing of oneself. Moving into nutrition, right? We know that nutrients are substances found in food, right, that provide nourishment to the body. We know that there are 6 main types of nutrients: carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and water, okay? And we know that all of these are crucial. All of these are essential. They are necessary for optimal functions of the body. Carbohydrates, I think sometimes will get a bad rap because we're usually eating the wrong types of carbohydrates, but know that they are essential. So let's talk a little bit about each of those categories of nutrients. And we know that proteins, carbohydrates, and fats are considered what we call macronutrients. So we know proteins, that's usually easy for people to identify and usually easy for people to include in their diet. It's a little more challenging for folk who are vegan specifically, or even just vegetarian. However, if you embark on that type of diet, usually you are very clear that there are some very good plant-based or plant sources of proteins. But we know that mostly people will find protein in beef, pork, chicken, other meats, seafood, eggs, soybeans, legumes, things of that nature. But of course, there's some handouts that we'll go over that will give you many options for proteins in plants. But we know that Proteins are essential because they provide the body with amino acids, which are the building blocks of proteins. So they're needed for growth, they're needed for development, repair and maintenance of the body tissues. They're essential for providing structure. This is for our muscles, our bones, repairing any tissue, helps immune cells fight inflammation and infection. So proteins are necessary. Carbohydrates, we know, provide energy and fuel for the body, right? So just as gasoline fuels a car, we know that carbs fuel the body, give it energy so that it can function, so that it can do its daily activities, walking, talking, moving, lifting heavy objects, anything that you need. It helps develop the body, helps children, pregnant women grow and develop. So we know that these are foods such as corn, beans, plantains, rice, potatoes, tortilla, root vegetables, your African yam, your yucca, your carrots, your beets, things of that nature. These are carbohydrates. They are important. It's just a matter of picking the right carbohydrates. And later in this series of lectures, we'll talk about good options for carbohydrates. And this is done by following the glycemic index. So in part, I guess that will change to maybe part, it would have been normally part 3 or 4, but that'll probably be in maybe part 6 or 7 now that we're expanding the number of classes a bit. And then we have fats. Dietary fat is that's found in oils, coconut, nuts, milk, cheese, meats, poultry, and fish. These basically provide structure to cells and cushions the membranes to help prevent damage. They're essential for absorbing fat-soluble vitamins such as vitamin A and K and E and things of that nature. And these nutrients really help build the body. They're essential. Just as with carbohydrates, though, we have to always make sure we're choosing the proper types of fats and oils. And just a little, I guess, a little further about that. Fats, you always want cold pressed or expeller pressed oils. And you always want to know the source of that fat or that oil. And you want to use really high quality, if you're doing meats, if you're doing dairy, you want it to be high quality, well raised or well grown sources for your fats and your oils. If you rely more on, say, salmon for your essential fatty acids, or if you're more so using oils such as almond oil or sesame oil or coconut oil or almond oils, safflower, sunflower, your more healthy oils that are not overly produced and highly genetically modified with a lot of the vegetable oils or soybean oils. So you want oils that are processed in a proper manner so that you get the benefit of the oils and the fats. You also want non-hydrogenated oils. So these are oils that usually they add hydrogen to it to prolong the shelf life so that they can last for years and years on the shelf. So there are many notes about that, but I won't get into too many details. So now moving on to the next category of nutrients is our micronutrients. These are our vitamins and minerals. And so we'll spend a little more time here just because there's so many, and this can be helpful to understand what different vitamins and minerals do to help improve your health, to increase your immunity, and to fight off infection. So it's good to have a basic understanding of what the various vitamins and minerals do in the body. So we know that vitamins and minerals are food components that help support overall health. They play roles in cell metabolism and neurological functions, right? So vitamins aid in energy production, wound healing, bone formation, immunity, eye and skin health. We know that minerals primarily help maintain cardiovascular health and provide structure to the skeleton, okay? So there are many different vitamins and minerals, and understanding what each does for the body can help you build your resistance, can help you arm yourself as to which vitamins and minerals you should take on a daily basis. The one thing I'd like to say here about vitamins and minerals is you always want to choose foods that naturally contain the vitamins and minerals that you need. But if you need to buy a supplement form of a vitamin and mineral, you want to make sure it's a high quality vitamin and mineral supplement from a reputable company that's been around for a while, not one that's just popped up in recent years because people are becoming more aware and conscious about their health. There are certain brands here in the States and probably in Europe, I'm not sure what's available on the continent, but certain brands like Shift and Mega Foods and Rainbow Light. These are brands that have been around for a long time that do food-based vitamins. These are vitamins and minerals that are derived from food and herbs, not synthetic, man-made vitamins and minerals. If you get a really cheap, poorly made vitamin and mineral where you might be disciplined at taking them every day, if your body cannot absorb them because they don't come from a good natural source, it's really all wasteful money and time and energy. So you really want to get a good quality vitamin and mineral, one that is made from food, herbs, fruits, vegetables, okay? So these handouts just sort of give some background information as to, you know, what some of the vitamins and minerals do, but I've included, and this is a little bit out of place, but this is what we'll call the raw food pyramid that I found that I stuck in here, but I really should have put it a few pages down in the presentation. And then going back to proteins, I mentioned there were some handouts about natural sources of, or plant-based sources, I should say, of proteins. And this handout I found helpful because it compares your typical protein count from your meats like chicken, tuna, beef, eggs, and compared it to other plants that contain protein. So we know that we can get high amounts and high quality protein from plants. Spirulina, chlorella, total textured vegetable protein, hemp seeds, pumpkin seeds, lentils, peanut butter, almonds, black beans, tempeh, seitan, quinoa. All of these are plant options for protein. And this is yet another handout about protein, other ways to find proteins. So asparagus, avocados, cashews, Brussels sprouts. There are many options for proteins in foods as opposed to your flesh, your meat. I forgot I put this handout in here, but yes, when I was talking about fats, this is a really little, I think, interesting little handout. It just gives you an example of fats that heal here at the top and then fats that kill. So like I said, it's all about finding good options for your fats. And so we definitely know we want to stay away from the bottom here, shortenings, margarines, oils from pork like lard and stuff like that, your fats and stuff from dairy products. These are not going to be your health producing and health extending oils. We want to focus on the fats that heal. I really honestly wouldn't personally put soybeans here, and maybe back in the day before they started genetically modifying them and overusing and overproducing soybeans, but hemp, flax, walnuts, seaweed, sunflower, sesame, some of these I mentioned already. These are the oils or fats you want to focus on. Still trying to get back down to the vitamins and minerals, yes. So vitamins and minerals we know are found in different sources. This handout I think was just good to give you a quick overview of where you can find your different vitamins and minerals. However, I've included this extensive chart here that gives you the amount that you need each day, where to find it, and what it actually does. And I usually try to highlight one or two that maybe we're not as familiar with Most people have heard of vitamin A. You focus on the eyes. Most people have heard of C. It helps with infection and colds and flu. And most people have heard of vitamin D. We know we get that from the sun, but it's good for immunity and bone health and things like that. But maybe we're not as familiar with vitamin K, which is essential for assisting the body in clotting the blood so that you don't bleed freely if you get a cut or if there's a surgical procedure. And, you know, there has to be proper blood clotting in the body. Also helps with strong bones. So vitamin K is one of those I'd like to highlight. And we know that the natural sources for that are from green leafy vegetables and other green vegetables, broccoli, kale, spinach, turnip greens, collard greens, Swiss chard, mustard greens. And the charts here go on to talk about other vitamins, other minerals, but I'd like to skip down here to give you the example of this. In addition to these foods that are listed here, know that there are herbs that naturally contain all your vitamins and minerals. So all of your micronutrients you can find in different herbs. So if you are a herb user, if you're a tea drinker, if you're implementing and incorporating herbs into your diet, you can do it based on the nutritional content. So using the example of vitamin K, if, for example, you're not doing great with eating your greens or your broccoli and things of that nature, alfalfa, gutta-cola, corn silk, slippery elm are all herbs that are high in vitamin K. Okay, so this is an option here. So this handout gives you the herbs, and there are some foods listed here too, but primarily herbal sources for your vitamins and minerals. Okay, this handout I included because it also gives you, so further up there's still this chart that will give you the breakdown of all the different minerals, right? The source, the function that it serves in the body. This is a quick reference for where to find it in foods. So we know that most people are familiar with calcium and maybe even magnesium, but I think let's highlight iron. Iron we know we can get from pumpkin seeds, we can get from kale, we can get from broccoli, quinoa, spinach. Also there's a food, well there's, I don't know if what's a food? Blackstrap molasses is also a good option for iron. If you need iron, it's excellent to add to maybe some warm water. It's not your sweet molasses that you maybe would put on pancakes. Let me just warn you. It has a very strong, thick taste. However, it's excellent for people who are anemic and suffering from low iron. We know that potassium is excellent. Most people only know potassium as it relates to bananas, but coconut water, avocados, kiwi, Brussels sprouts, tomatoes, figs, all of these are excellent options for obtaining and increasing potassium in your diet. Manganese, cinnamon, garlic, thyme, chard, turmeric, collard greens, these are sources of manganese. So I think, and I'm out of time because with our new time, I think I am to end at 11:15. But just know that if you are not getting proper nutrients from your daily meals, know that you can add herbs that will increase to your nutrient uptake. And I cannot say this enough. If you are somebody that likes to drink tea, I am not. But if you have that habit, that can be a really good healing habit for you. But instead of your Lipton black and white teas, right, use any number of these herbs to make your afternoon tea or your after dinner tea. Or if you start the day with some hot tea, use any number of these herbs, especially if you are deficient in any of the vitamins and minerals that you see listed here. Let me just quickly, so next week we'll go more into diet, helpful hints about how to eat, what to eat, when to eat it, food combining, things of that nature. And let me just see if alkaline diet is great. We all should follow an alkaline diet because we know that's what's life-giving. That is what allows the body to function as it should. Acid-forming foods allow the body to get stiff hardened, you know, it's usually dehydrated. It welcomes illness. Alkalinity is what ushers in that healing process. So we should definitely eat an alkaline rich diet. But even if we don't primarily or exclusively, we should at least be doing 70% alkaline foods. What else? And yes, thank you, Award. So yes, if you don't have the handouts that I'm referencing today, you can email me, I'll send them to you. Scrolling through, I don't think there were many questions. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Okay, so I think that is it. So I'm going, oh, see, I did something different. You don't need to see that. Okay. How do I get back to, oh, I want to stop the screen share. Great. Okay, so I think I'm out of time, and we'll pick back up on part 2 of this information about nutrition and healthy food combining and how to eat for healing. So Award, I think I'm at my time. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, hey, Yvonne. Okay, all right. Well, peace and good health, everybody. See you next week.
Okay, thank you very much, Nana Akur. Yes.
About we health. We appreciate all of you who were with us on the healthcare lecture. On next, we're going to have our professor, Dr. Tyreen Wright, to lead us in the Pan-African history class. She's the author of the book called Booker T. Washington in Africa, The Making of a Pan-Africanist. I think some of you have this book, you ordered it online. She's the author of this book. So I encourage you to go and read out this book, which she wrote. And also, she's the one who will be leading this class about the Pan-African history. We are very privileged to have a professor who teaches at the City of New York University to lead us in this class. Welcome, Dr. Wright, to the Pan-African history class.
Hello, how are you? Hello, everyone. So I have to get used to the new time. I'm going to be sharing in the WhatsApp group momentarily the syllabus for the course. This is the Pan-African History and Organizing course, and basically it is the ideological training course for I Love Black People, but we're going to try to, this time around, get it to be more of an application course as soon as we, how to apply Pan-Africanism in the context of technology and what we're trying to do here, or what we actually are doing and are going to continue doing through I Love Black People. So I will be sharing that momentarily and then sharing it on the screen as well. So welcome, thank you for joining us. This is, I believe, the first of 4. I think we're going to continue doing 4 sessions. And most of what you get from me will be seen in the WhatsApp groups. I will share reading materials in the WhatsApp group, and then you will access it and we will have some level of a discussion within the group. And on Saturdays, we have a 30-minute lecture, probably 20 minutes, and then you guys Q&A. It's a little bit of time to share the information and ask questions about it. And then we'll move on to the next week. One of the things that, so we're sort of transitioning, and this is, I think, the 17th, really it's the 18th session cycle of us doing this course since the pandemic began. And one second, I'm just gonna, okay. I'm about to share for you all the document. But one of the things that we are trying to do here is look at examples of applying Pan-Africanism in the context that we are using it here in I Love Black People. I'm sorry. And you know what? My WhatsApp closed because I'm talking to you all on the computer, on the phone, and I'm using the computer at the same time. Okay, so this morning is going to be interesting. All right. Do I need anyway, okay, so we're going to be using some real live examples. Matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the syllabus, which is pretty standard in here, but then you'll see after we get off the actual syllabus go up in the WhatsApp group. The dates are not going to be the same, but the curriculum is the same because I'm locked out of WhatsApp just now. So I'm not going to screen share and do that. This book was just mentioned. You do not have to buy this book. I give chapters of this book out in the context of the group. And we are looking at it only for one reason and one reason only, which is that, and so let me do that again, right? It's called Booker T. Washington in Africa, The Making of a Pan-Africanist. It's a book I wrote like 7 years ago, and basically it frames two policy cases where you see a very, unlike those of you who are in the United States, you know, this is a very unlikely figure, Booker T. Washington, who is actually engaged in some activity that advances the interests of African people globally, okay? And those are concrete cases, obscure but concrete cases. That being said, I actually did the research on them and shared them in the book and shared them in the context of this course. Why would we look at such a thing? We want to see evidence and we want to get examples and models of Pan-Africanism in practice, right? Pan-Africanism playing out as opposed to it being some abstract idea and concept, okay? So that is one of the main purposes. The Sinclair Skinner and I, we discussed this as we went into this new cycle, before we went into the new cycle, that basically what we want those members and ambassadors of I Love Black People to understand is that this is a space where we are going to connect our love to Black people, love for Black people, to action, right? Because we're so used to people saying they care about us, whether it's politicians or anybody else. And then in terms of action, we don't see any of that. So the point of what we're doing, what we will do in our 30 minutes is look at examples individually, organizationally, institutionally, and politically, and through policy where people have loved Black people, African people, through action. We are looking at those actions, right? Very often, even right now, there's a lot of people who are talk about Pan-Africanism. Like, what has Pan-Africanism ever done for us? Well, the truth of the matter is that if it hasn't done something for us, then it's not Pan-African. And I will give you a working definition of Pan-Africanism so that you can know that, right? So in other words, when we get together and we don't do anything through action to deal with our collective condition, then that is not Pan-Africanism. That's something else. That's Black folks getting together, African people getting together, but it's certainly not Pan-Africanism. I define Pan-Africanism in one of the chapters I'll be sharing here in the course. And a very bare bones definition of Pan-Africanism at the turn of the century, 20th century, when the first Pan-African conference takes place and this word Pan-Africanism emerges, is unity for the purpose of eradicating oppression and exploitation. Okay? And that bare bone definition allows us to see in the very rawest way that Pan-Africanism must be tied to, right? Pan-Africanism coming together must be tied to addressing our condition and our oppression and our exploitation. If we come together and throw a party and nothing materializes to address our specific condition in the world, then it is not Pan-Africanism. If politicians have a meeting and they're all Black, but they come together and they don't produce what politicians, legislators produce, which is legislation that addresses our condition, then it is not Pan-Africanist. That was just a bunch of Black politicians coming together for whatever reason they want to come together for, okay? So the bottom line is that Pan-Africanism, what it produces is not intangible. It is tangible. We should be able to weigh and measure it. It is unequivocally to the benefit of African and Black people who suffer under oppressive and exploitative conditions, period. So we'll be looking at those examples. And for the first time, we're going to try to get everyone who is in this course to use the technology provided by ILoveBlackPeople so that you can engage in the actions that a member or an ambassador would engage in as part of this organization, right? As part of this movement, in essence, to eradicate racism and xenophobia and create a safer world. That's part of what our aim is, right? What we want to give African and Black people. We want to produce a safer world for us, a world where our lives, where the gain is our lives. Things that would normally be life-threatening are no longer for us, right? So those are the objectives here. I'm just going to, hold on one second. I'm going to pause the camera, open up a document. You can ignore the dates because I have to, I'm troubleshooting at the same time. My WhatsApp won't open up. So I'm gonna have to use WhatsApp here instead of on my computer, but I wanna go over the syllabus very briefly so you can see what the structure of the course is and what the objectives of the course are. Okay, 1 second. Okay, let me go to an old course. Okay. One moment. And so for the most part, in the 30 minutes, I'll probably lecture for 10, 15 minutes. And then I will go to Q&A. From those who are participating. Okay. 1 second, I'm trying to open up the document. So if you can just make sure that showing me who entered the waiting room. If you could just make sure, moderator, while I'm scrolling down for the document, for you to make sure I can share my screen.
Yes, you're allowed.
At the same time, in a second. For some reason, I'm able to see everybody who's entering the waiting room. I'm not sure why, just so you know.
Yes, we made you the co-host that you can be able to share your screen.
Oh, okay. All right. So bear with me, everyone. Well, while I look at this, so typically this course spans about 4 weeks, for about a month, and you will get the reading materials via PDF in the course, okay, within the Zoom. And so I would recommend some of these documents are documents you wouldn't see every day. They certainly cost, and then some of them are chapters, book chapters, all on this focused issue. That being said, I would recommend, you know, making a file for yourself for this course to, in order to save the documents and keep them, for future reference, right? Because it is like any other course, you will have a certain amount of readings that will be relevant to it, and you can go back and reference it for your own development in general, okay? So, all right, it's taking me forever to get to the document. Sorry, guys. I wasn't expecting that. Every glitch that could go wrong is going wrong. Well, what you can do at the moment while I'm looking for the document, if you have any questions and comments, and the administrators, they can post the link to the book Booker T. Washington in Africa in the chat. I don't require you to get this book. You're not required to get the book or anything like that. Here we go, finally. Oh, no, that's not it. You're not required to get the book. You are, okay, there we go. You are not required to buy the book or anything like that. I will be giving you chapters from it. And those of you who are not in the United States, I definitely wouldn't recommend you buying the book or anything like that. But you can get the book if you are in the United States and are just personally interested. I think the book will be restocked next week, and they'll share the link for the book in the chat. Let me share right now. Okay. I'm going to share the syllabus. Please ignore the dates because it's the same syllabus. It hasn't changed, but the specific dates for the cycle do change, right, from month to month. The content is the same. So I'm going to share that. Screen. Start broadcast. Okay. So, all right. So there you go. So that, oh, sorry guys. All right. Can everybody see that, the syllabus?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, wonderful. There we go. All right, so this is the syllabus for I Love Black People, Pan-African History and Organizing Ideological Training Seminar. That is correct, spring 2022, but I think that I have to take the dates out of there because I'm just gonna keep it to week 1, 2, 3, and 4. But this is a brief description of the course, and I actually will be posting the corrected one or updated one, really. In the WhatsApp group. But this gives you a description of the course. An Introduction to Pan-African History and Organizing is an ideological development course that surveys the history of Pan-Africanism as a theory and practice. The seminar is structurally designed to examine and engage in a critical analysis of the theories and practices of Pan-Africanism as both a political and ideological impetus for organizing African and Black people globally. The course begins with the historical foundations of Pan-Africanism at the turn of the 20th century, while it is simply a budding concept in the African diaspora and the Americas. It becomes the impetus for international organizing in Europe, the first Pan-African Conference, and the Americas. It finds its highest expression on the African continent in liberation and revolutionary struggles against imperialism with the objective of continental unity and many have questioned the measurable results produced by Pan-Africanism. This course explores this idea and qualifies the practices and production of Pan-Africanism, considering measurable social, political, economic, and material gains for African and Black people globally by examining policy cases, conference resolutions, and various approaches employed by early proponents of Pan-Africanism, African nationalist organizational bodies and institutions, okay? And these are the learning outcomes. I'm gonna skip through some of them so you can get an idea of what some of the learning outcomes are. You should come out of this course with a working definition of Pan-Africanism, knowledge of its specific history, development, and emergence as an ideology, theory, and practice in the world, the ability to define Pan-Africanist thought, speech, and action across various technological mediums, social media platforms, virtual realities, and brick and mortar spaces. What does that mean? That means that you should be able to assess very quickly, like, and much in the same way as I spoke about what Pan-Africanism is and isn't, meaning that there's always a measurable result. So you should be able to assess something and generally be able to determine whether it produces something for us or not, right? In the United States in particular, we have a constant situation where there'll be a lot of gestures towards Black people, but most of it won't equate to anything, right? There'll be a lot of symbolic behavior directed at Black people, but it won't produce anything. And in that instance, you should understand that that's not Pan-Africanist and doesn't serve us. This particular point is a constant struggle for us, right? Because sometimes we tend to not be able to assess when people are doing something, or organizations or institutions are doing something concrete for us, because we're so enamored with the optics or the aesthetics or the feeling, right? People all over the world know we are a, how would you say? We are a, for lack of a better description, emotional and passionate people. And so most of the time that's played upon, right? Meaning some people will tell you how great Obama was in the West, right? But that's only because he made them feel good seeing him there. In terms of policy, he did absolutely nothing for Black people. Okay, I'm just being real. And how would you measure that? You go to his policies, and I'm somebody who's done that as somebody who studies policy. You know, in the United States, there was a gesture with regard to putting a Black person on, you know, some of the currency. Well, what does that produce for Black people? How does that help Black people? How does that help African people? It doesn't. It's symbolic, right? So you should be able, across, you know, various realities, various contexts, be able to assess whether or not something actually produced something measurable gains for us or not. Okay, so that's what number 2 means: the ability to identify qualified Pan-Africanist thought, speech, and action across various technological media and social media platforms, virtual realities, and brick and mortar spaces. Okay, The ability to qualify whether policies, legislation, organizational initiatives, and or general practices are Pan-Africanist in nature and beneficial to African and Black people. The ability to identify imperialism, colonialism, and neocolonialism as oppressive and exploitative systems as they have manifested throughout the African world, Africa and its diasporas. The means and methods through which African and Black people have organized, fought, resisted, and liberated themselves and nations from imperialism, colonialism, and the ways in which colonialism is currently being resisted. The role of Pan-Africanism as a primary strategy and tactic in the effort to eliminate racism and xenophobia. So when I say Pan-Africanism, I'm using the term synonymous with African and Black unity, right? Because in essence, that's what it means, right? The definition of Pan-Africanism that we are invoking here is the very early bare bones definition of Pan-Africanism, which is unity for the purpose of eradicating oppression and exploitation of African and Black people worldwide, right? So, and it's very much in the same vein as that is the initial definition put forth by the participants in the first Pan-African conference. Now, you'll read a chapter that I'm going to post for you momentarily that will give you some other definitions of the some definitions that would come later on, meaning, you know, some tailored, the same core definition, but tailored to various methods of producing that, right? So in its essence, W.E.B. Du Bois would be somebody who would perfect using organization, right, for the purpose of unifying African people. Garvey would also use mass organization, but he would echo something that Washington did, was independence through industry. So he would attempt to organize the African world with promoting independence of industry, right? So this is why, you know, we'll get into that, but the UNIA is basically structured after the Tuskegee model, which had 44 industries, okay? And you'll see that in this chapter you're gonna read that I'm gonna share with you called Booker T. Washington, Pan-Africanism and Pan-Africanists, which recalls and recounts that whole period when Pan-Africanism emerged. But the point is that all of these things are examined here with the focus of the core value, right? Unity for the purpose of eradicating oppression and exploitation. Exploitation. Hold on one second. Okay, so I'm gonna jump to the last couple of ones. So just for time, the ability to qualify, and again, qualify everything before declaring it substantial or beneficial to African and Black people locally and globally. Develop a measurable results orientation regarding business practices and services, policy and political agendas, legislative initiatives, organizational efforts, and institutional practices. So that's with regard to how you're going to forge ahead in doing the work for I Love Black People. We're going to try to make sure that we get a demo in here in terms of the app, downloading it, accessing it, and you begin tasking for African people, for Black people, right? So if one can say, what can I do on a daily basis, right, to advance the interests of African people and make, you know, fulfill our mission, which is to give us a safer world to live in, then that comes attached to a number of actions, right, that we can perform through literally the app, you know, modern technology. Okay, so you can read the seminar themes. I think it's 11:45 at the moment, and I think that's the end of my time, but let me stop this. I'm gonna stop the share. Get back on camera, look at the chat real quick. So I'll be sharing that. Good morning, good afternoon from Sierra Leone, hello. Great, Domingos, Antonio, welcome. Okay, so we're going to talk about food security. All right, I think these comments are from Nana Akua's session. Yeah, it looks like they're all from her session, so there's no questions for me, but I will be sharing chapter 2 of this book. You'll get it in the WhatsApp group, the Zoom. So I'll be sharing chapter 2. It's called Booker T. Washington, Pan-Africanism and Pan-Africanist, which recalls some of the history that I just quickly went over, right? First Pan-African Conference, all of that, where these definitions emerged. And then we'll be discussing it. Also, what else? Yeah, then we'll be discussing it throughout the week, and you should get this chapter today. I used to wait and do it on Monday, but we're trying to be more efficient now. So I'll be sending it on later today, shortly, and you will read it, and we will have a dialogue in the WhatsApp group regarding it, okay? So it doesn't look like there's any questions. It's great to see your faces. Thank you for participating. The course is 4 weeks. Right, I don't use Amazon anyway. It's called, the book can be purchased via the website. Can the moderator post the website, Booker T. Washington and Africa.com. It's all one word, Booker T. Washington and Africa.com. And, but you're not required to buy the book, okay? I will be sharing entire chapters of the book in the context of the course, and we'll have a chance to briefly revisit and read them. How long did this course last? Is 4 weeks, and I'm over by 3 minutes. Okay, hello, Glenda Jackson from sunny California. Yeah, thank you for joining us, because it's early for you. It's much earlier for you. And hello from Sierra Leone. All right, everyone, thank you so much for participating. Look out for those documents in the group, so you'll get an updated version of the syllabus. And you'll get chapter 2 of this book, which is Booker T. Washington, Pan-Africanism and Pan-Africanist. Very interesting, recreates and informs you on the history of Pan-Africanism if you don't already know it, okay? All right, folks, I appreciate your time, your energy, and for joining us this morning, okay? Let's see. Thank you. All right. Thank you. All right. I am because we are. Yes. No. Wonderful, Chris, Emmanuel. This would be a good book to have for your library. All right.
Yes. Thank you very much.
I might share the book link in the WhatsApp group, Chris, Emmanuel, or you can share it, Yvonne, or can one of the administrators share the link, Booker T. Washington in Africa, the Booker T. Washington and Africa.com, if you are interested in getting that. But we were sold out, so we won't be restocked until what? The 3rd. Yes. Okay. Anyway, thank you, everyone. I am because we are. Stay safe.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Wright.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.